Hi there, and welcome to a bonus episode of my writing advice and inspiration podcast, Omakase. The topic for this month is something special. Is something that I have been thinking a lot for a long time, and this is gonna go to patrons in November, but for everyone else in December. At the end of the year, after NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, and just around the time when the weight of the year feels tangible on our shoulders. And I wanted to leave you for this month, if you're listening to this on YouTube in December, in the middle of December, with a little bit of inspiration for the coming year. This is going to be a little bit shorter. Mostly because I want it to be a short video you can come back to whenever you need it. I'm gonna go over 10 reasons. Not top 10 reasons, but 10 reasons for you to keep writing and to keep making art. I'm gonna just go through them one by one. I want you to settle in, open your mind for a little bit. It's been a long year. It's been a really long last couple of years. And it's likely that you're at your lowest right now. The holidays tend to do that, unfortunately. But I am here to serve as lighthouse and as anchor. You should keep writing. You should keep telling stories. I'm going to try to number them, but I'm most likely going to fail. So right off the start, why should you keep writing? 1, because it feels great to hold that physical book in your hands. The first time that you get the printed copy of your novel, it feels great. It feels amazing. It blew my mind when I realized that this novel that I had written existed in the physical world. It wasn't just the thing I imagined. It wasn't just something that existed in my computer as files and pages, but it was actually real, tangible pages, paper and ink. Something real. Something you can hold in your hands. Put on a bookshelf. Look at it and say, I made that. Why should you keep on writing? Because you want to show that book, that finished book. You want to hold it in your hands and show it to the one person who believed in you the whole time. The one person who never doubted your abilities. The one person who never stopped believing you could do it and inspired you from the sidelines the whole time. Keep writing so that you can hold that book in your hands and hand it to them. The first copy. All for them. Because they believed in you. They were right there with you the whole time. A friend, a family member, maybe someone you have never met in person, but they were there for you. And you should keep on writing, so that when you finish the novel, and you hold it in your hands, you can share it with them. Why should you keep writing? 3, so that you can share it not only with those who believed in you and your friends, but with the rest of the world. Putting it out there, although it may be daunting and scary. Putting it out there, sharing it, letting the world experience the thing you made. See that world through their own eyes and their own field of imagination. Letting them experience your characters and listen to their voices. You enjoyed the story. You created it. You gave it form. And now they get to experience it. They will experience their own version of the story. They will see the characters different, and the locations slightly not like you expected them to. But they will find something through that story. They will enjoy it. And they will arrive at the same place you are now, having experienced that world firsthand, cherishing with them new memories of places that had never existed, and people who do not exist in the world we're in right now, but nonetheless felt so real. Why should you keep writing? 4. So that you can share this story with the world, in the hopes that the one person who needs this story right now may find it. Don't you have a story you found just when you were at your lowest, just when you felt brokenhearted, just when you thought there would be no hope in sight? Forever. And you found a story that inspired you, or that, if anything, gave you respite from the world you lived in, the torture of the present. Wouldn't you like someone else to have that experience? To be freed from the moment, and to find something. Sometimes we find things we didn't mean in the story. Sometimes we find just what we're looking for. Wouldn't you like someone to find something in your story? To find a message that they knew all along, but were never able to put it in such clear, concise words? Wouldn't you like them to at least find a moment of respite from the world we live in? Why should you keep writing? 5. So that you finish your first of many novels. You have stories to tell. I don't believe you only want to write this one book. And it is very likely you have many stories to tell about these characters. Don't you want to write them? Don't you want to tell us all about them? Not this one story in this one book, but the next one, and the one after that. But you can't get there unless you finish this one, your first novel, the hardest it's ever going to be. Right now, the first time you're climbing the mountain will be the hardest time. Find solace in knowing that right now, when it feels the hardest, it is. Things will get a little easier. You just have to keep going. Okay? Why should you keep on writing? 6. So that you can experience the joy, the dreadful, horrible, beautiful, amazing joy that is revision. Through the act of revision, we turn our first drafts into something amazing. I cannot describe in words to you how incredible it is to see a story develop from a first draft into a finished novel. It is night and day. It is a completely different story by the time you're finished. By the time that you emerge from the final revision draft, after the feedback, after everything, when you're holding the finished novel in your hand, the final manuscript, the story is completely different. And it is amazing. It feels as though the end of an amazing journey, of a long journey, of a whole adventure. Sometimes longer than the ones the characters had in the story. And I want you to experience that. I want you to be able to look back on that first draft you rewrote by hand, in between classes, in between breaks at your work, in between the little times you had when the kids fell asleep for long enough for you to pick up a pen and write a word or two. To look at that first draft and see it transformed. A true example of metamorphosis. A caterpillar wrapped in a cocoon and emerging as a beautiful butterfly. Why should you keep on writing? 7. To see people excited about your work. When you put it out there, people will give it a chance. People will consume it and enjoy it and become lost in your worlds and your characters. And they will be excited and they will let you know. Just imagine seeing people excited for your world and your character and the whole cast. And to have their own inside jokes. And to be heartbroken by the saddest points in the story. And to feel joyous at the highest points of the story. To see someone else excited about your world and your characters is a joy. And it reminds me, and it will remind you, of why we keep doing what we do. So keep on writing. Why keep on writing? 8. So that one day, when you put your book out there, and people enjoy it, you get to experience one of the strangest things. Seeing fan art of your work. I am still speechless whenever someone @s me on Twitter with their fan art. I am still speechless whenever I get a notification that someone posted artwork on this website or that website, tagging me, tagging my characters and my novels. And you see these amazing talented artists putting in hours upon hours to create illustrations and character sketches and handmade drawings. It's amazing. It's ridiculous. I look at them and I think, you went through all this trouble because of me? It's amazing. But it wasn't because of me. It was because of the characters and the world. Because it was their characters and their world, and they loved it so much they had to express it. They had to put pen to paper, stylus to tablet, and create something to show just how much they cared. And it's also fun, because you get to see the little differences, the little ways in which their perception of the characters was different from yours. And that's fun. And I want you to experience that. I want you to wake up one day and find in your notifications tab that someone has sent to you an amazing piece of artwork of your characters, of that scene from the story. But you won't get there. You won't get there unless you finish that story. So keep on writing. Keep on writing. We only have 2 more. But remember, you can always come back to this video if you need it. Okay? Why should you keep on writing? 9. So that you get to read this novel again. A year from the time you publish it. 5 years, 10 years, to pick it up 2 decades after your first novel has been published. And you can read that novel with new eyes. So that you can return to the story you wrote, not as the author, not as the person trying to fix all the mistakes and patch all the plot inconsistencies and formatting the sentences. No. So that you come back to these stories you wrote as a reader. So that you can enjoy what you made years after. Decades even. Keep writing and keep on writing so that one day you can return to that first story, the one that felt the hardest, the one you did not think you could finish, so that you can come back to it and know in your heart that everything up until this point was worth it. Why should you keep on writing? Why should you make sacrifices? Why should you keep on going in spite of the world around you, in spite of your own doubts and your own fears? 10. To start again. To finish that novel, to get it out there, and to tell another story. With different characters or the same ones. To start anew, to return to the beginning of all stories. To find yourself again at page 0. To find yourself at the bottom, at the base of the mountain once again. Why do we do this? Why do we look up at that giant of rock, that titan of nature, the unsurmountable obstacle, the mountain that is to write a story? Because it's fun. Because I love to enjoy the story as its first reader as I write it. Because I love to see how the story changes from draft to draft, how a character who seemed like nothing becomes everything, how single sentences that appeared out of nowhere at a moment or another become the crux of the plot, the crux of a person's life. Why do we write? Why do we set out on impossible journeys? Because it's fun. And because we love to discover things firsthand. To know for sure. And to experience things for ourselves. It is curiosity. And it is the desire to know for sure. Why do we write? Why do we set out on impossible journeys? Because it's fun. So please, keep on writing. Not just when the new year rolls around, but whenever you can. Whenever you have time, whenever you're able. Keep on writing. Keep on telling stories. Not just for you. Not just for the one person who believed in you all along. Not just for the one person who needs you. Write for that story. These characters in this world found you. And you should do them justice. You should tell their story. And see it through. Okay? Okay. The month is wrapping up. The year is wrapping up. And so, the weight of all these months feels truer than before. We can feel them on our shoulders. And it's very easy to look back and think to ourselves, did we achieve anything? At the end of it all, I think what matters the most is not how many times we tripped and fell. It's not how many times we failed, but rather how many times we choose to keep getting up, to keep going, and to keep fighting. Thank you for tagging along. My name is Max, also known as M. Karen, and this has been a bonus episode of my writing advice and inspiration podcast, Omakase. This topic, this whole podcast is here thanks to my patrons. Every month I propose 3 different topics and the patrons vote on them, and this is the one that won for this month. If you're interested in supporting me and what I do, there should be a link in the description down below for my Patreon and for the latest poll. You can vote on the next workshop and watch it a month before it goes live. on YouTube by just pledging $1. Okay? Thank you for tagging along, and I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely rest of your year. Okay? Okay. And so, welcome back to the end of the video club. I'm your host, I'm Karen. Let's go through all of my lovely patrons. Beginning with, of course, A. Howard, Atlac, Alistair Baywood, Alisa Dudley, Amanda Stevens, Amelia, Amy Palmer, Angela, and the other Angela, Anyexo Hoshi, Biting the Sun, Blarg, Brenda, C.E. Richards, Caitlin, and the other Caitlin, Kathy Lindsay, Lishadra, Christiane, Christine Dennis, Kristen Lofton, Clem Pastor, Dwayne Jackson, Eleanor, Erasos, Joffrey Raby, Gilbert Gaudreau, Hero Song, Irina Phoenix, Janosch Haybutsky, Jaytona Kirkwood, Jeffrey James Williams, Juan Nunes, K.M. Anderson, Kameshwar Rao Shaluri, Kaylee, Kiel, Kit Lee, Lacey, Lier Killo, M.T. Lucatelli, Mark Maruska, Mary Foster Smith, Nicola, Nicole Grissom, Nicolay, Noam Sohar, Novels and Tomes, Pablo, Pat Eichson, Polly Craftwell, Raquel Fernandez, Rhiannon August, Roa, Shimmer Tales, Sky, D. White, Soulmuse, Sylvia Leitilla, Synexia, and Wendy Christopher. Thank you so much, guys, for all of your support. Don't forget to vote on the latest poll. As of the recording of this podcast, I don't know what the options are gonna be. I would love to spend a little bit of time being like, hey, here's the inside scoop. But I actually haven't finalized the options yet. I generally like to give you a serious topic, an inspiration topic, or rather a mechanical versus an inspirational topic, and then a weird topic. I always like to do a weird topic for the end of the year. I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what the plan's gonna be, but I'm sure we'll figure it out as we go. Thank you for tagging along. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me, and I would like to wish you a wonderful, wonderful next year.